Power. Everyone wants it. They chase it, beg for it, and lose themselves trying to get it. But here's the paradox. Machiavelli understood the ones who are truly dangerous never seek power. They don't chase thrones. They build them for others. And then quietly pull the strings from the shadows. In this lesson, we'll uncover why the most intelligent, dangerous, and strategic minds never fight to be seen, yet somehow the world bends to their will. Niccolò Machiavelli once wrote that the desire for power reveals weakness, for the man who needs to show control already fears losing it. The truly dangerous mind does not crave the crown. It understands it. They observe how kings rule, how the masses obey, and how appearances command more loyalty than truth itself. This is not a lesson in ambition. It's a warning. The loud ones seek recognition. The wise ones seek leverage. And it's the latter who shape history. Most people believe that power is the ultimate reward, the destination of every struggle, every ambition, every sleepless night. But the dangerous mind sees it differently. They don't crave the crown because they understand what it costs to wear it. They know that every ounce of power comes with chains, invisible but heavy, binding the ruler to expectations, enemies, and endless fear of loss. To the crowd, power looks like glory, the applause, the influence, the respect. But Machiavelli would whisper otherwise. He would say that the throne is not a seat of comfort, it's a battlefield in disguise. Every ruler sits upon it surrounded by daggers, some seen, some hidden. The wise man, the dangerous mind, sees this clearly. He does not envy the king, he studies him. He watches how those who rise too fast eventually collapse under the weight of their own authority. When you hold power, everyone watches. Every decision you make is questioned, every weakness magnified, every silence interpreted as strategy or threat. You lose freedom the moment you gain control. That's why the most calculating minds never compete for visible power, because they know visibility is vulnerability. They'd rather influence from the shadows, shaping outcomes without ever stepping into the line of fire. Machiavelli once observed that it is safer to be feared than loved, but the dangerous mind knows an even higher truth. It is safest to be neither, to be unseen, to be the architect, not the face. When others rush to lead, they quietly create the structures that guide leaders themselves. The loud ones crave authority, the silent ones build systems of influence. Think of how power changes a man. Once he holds it, paranoia follows. Trust becomes impossible. Every ally could be an enemy, every smile could hide betrayal. The dangerous mind avoids this fate by never sitting on the throne. They sit behind it. They whisper advice, plant ideas, and control the flow of information. The ruler takes the blame, the crowd bows to him, but the mind behind it all? Untouched, unknown, and free. To them, power is not something to be shown, it's something to be understood. It's not about control, it's about awareness. They know the patterns of desire that drive men, the fragile egos that build empires, and the blind spots that destroy them. They do not fight for power because they already possess something greater: perspective. And here lies the difference. The fool seeks the crown to feel powerful. The dangerous mind doesn't need the crown because power lives within their understanding. They see how authority corrupts, how ego blinds, and how the constant need to dominate weakens the mind. So, instead of joining the chaos, they step aside, observe, and use that knowledge as leverage. Every empire has two rulers, the one the world sees and the one who understands the world. The dangerous mind chooses the second role, silent, strategic, untouchable. They manipulate outcomes without ever lifting a sword because they see power not as a prize to win but as a burden to carry, one that crushes those too eager to hold it. There's a rare kind of power that doesn't come from force, money, or position. It comes from patience. The dangerous mind understands that time is the most ruthless teacher and the most obedient servant. They never rush to conquer. They don't chase results or beg for recognition. They wait, silently, intelligently, like a predator that knows every movement of its prey before striking. Machiavelli would call this the art of waiting for the right storm. Most people fail because they move too early. They confuse activity with strategy. They think that motion means progress, when in truth it often reveals desperation. But the dangerous mind? They know that every kingdom that rose too soon fell even faster. They observe how ambition blinds men into acting before the soil is ready. They plant seeds, but they never demand them to bloom on command, because they know even power obeys timing. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but the wise understand that boldness must be precise. The bold man without timing is a fool rushing into fire. The patient man with timing is a storm that cannot be stopped. The dangerous mind does not waste energy fighting battles that time can win for them. They let others exhaust themselves, talking, competing, exposing their weaknesses. While the world burns in haste, they remain still, sharpening their understanding of the right moment to act. Patience is not weakness. It's control. It's emotional discipline disguised as stillness. While others panic, the dangerous mind studies patterns: who rises too fast, who reveals too much, who is controlled by fear, who by pride. They calculate not just what to do, but when to do it. Every step, every silence, every appearance is a weapon used with precision. When they finally act, it feels effortless. But that single action is built upon countless hours of restraint. You see, timing is the hidden language of power. The wise know that opportunities don't appear randomly. They are manufactured through observation and silence. The one who can wait sees what no impatient man ever will. The moment when others make fatal mistakes, that is when they move. Not before, not after, exactly when the world is distracted. That is how empires are quietly taken without war. How influence is gained without resistance. Those who rush become predictable. The patient become invisible until it's too late to stop them. The dangerous mind thrives in this invisibility. They let others think they are passive or indifferent. They feed that illusion deliberately, because nothing disarms a rival more than underestimation. And when the time comes, when the moment is perfect, they strike so cleanly that no one even realizes who pulled the strings. The loud man fights for dominance today. The dangerous man prepares for victory tomorrow. He knows that everything powerful, storms, revolutions, empires, is born in silence before it explodes. Time itself bends for those who understand it. Machiavelli would say fortune can be seized, but only by those who wait for her to lower her guard. The dangerous mind does exactly that. They let fortune sleep before they claim her throne. The most dangerous minds are not the ones sitting on the throne. They're the ones standing behind it. You'll never see their faces on banners or hear their names shouted in the streets. They don't crave recognition, because recognition is exposure, and exposure is risk. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He knew that the true strategist never stands in the light. He lets others take the spotlight, while he controls the stage from the shadows. Those who hide behind power understand a fundamental truth. Once you become the face of authority, you become its prisoner. Every eye turns toward you. Every rival watches your every move. Every ally questions your every word. Power invites attention, and attention invites danger. But when you operate behind it, you gain freedom, the kind that allows you to shape events without being tied to their consequences. The dangerous mind doesn't seek to be the ruler. They seek to be the ruler's mind. They whisper, they suggest, they guide. The king may hold the sword, but the advisor decides where it swings. That is the silent brilliance of those who hide behind power. They lead without being seen leading. They influence without ever appearing to command. They can make or break empires with a single word, yet no one ever suspects their hand in it. And when things go wrong, the world looks to the throne for answers, not to the quiet mind behind it. Machiavelli would tell you that visibility makes you vulnerable. To stand in power is to paint a target on your back. The dangerous mind avoids that by mastering the art of manipulation through distance. They plant ideas like seeds in the minds of those who crave power and let them believe the ideas were their own. They do not argue. They do not fight for control. They simply create a path, one that others willingly follow, thinking it was their choice. Every ruler has a weakness. The need to be seen, to be celebrated, to be feared. The dangerous mind feeds this need while remaining invisible. They understand that vanity is a chain that can control even the most powerful man. And so they pull the strings with quiet precision, never letting ego betray their presence. Their genius lies in detachment. They can walk away from any situation untouched, while those they advised are too invested to escape. When you look at history's greatest power brokers, you'll find this same pattern. Kings ruled nations, but counselors ruled kings. Generals commanded armies, but strategists decided when and where they fought. The dangerous mind doesn't need the title to control the outcome. Their strength lies in subtlety, in influencing those who crave authority until those people unknowingly serve their design. To hide behind power is not cowardice, it's mastery. It's understanding that the loudest voice rarely shapes the world. It's the quiet one that whispers direction into chaos. Those who chase thrones become symbols. Those who stand behind them become architects of fate. Machiavelli knew that history remembers the rulers, but the rulers were never truly free. The dangerous minds behind them were. The most dangerous minds do not rule through force. They rule through understanding. They study human nature the way a scientist studies patterns, with patience and precision. They know that every man, no matter how noble he appears, is driven by the same invisible forces: fear, desire, pride, and insecurity. And once you understand these forces, you can predict behavior long before it happens. Machiavelli called this the highest art of leadership, not to control men through commands, but to guide them through their own weaknesses. Most people believe they act with reason, but the dangerous mind knows that reason is an illusion. People are emotional creatures wearing rational masks. They want to be admired, loved, respected, yet fear rejection more than death itself. The dangerous mind studies these contradictions. They listen not to what people say, but to what their fears whisper between words. They see what drives them, what terrifies them, and what lies they tell themselves to survive. Once you see the truth behind human nature, manipulation becomes as natural as breathing. Machiavelli observed that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and greedy. But he didn't say this with contempt. He said it with clarity. Because when you accept human nature as it is, not as you wish it to be, you gain control over it. The dangerous mind uses this understanding to build influence, not through charm, but through psychology. They give people what they crave most: validation, hope, attention, and in return, they gain power that no army could ever take by force. They understand that truth doesn't move people, emotion does. That's why rulers who speak logically often fail, while manipulators who appeal to fear or desire rise effortlessly. The dangerous mind knows how to use emotion as a weapon. They can calm a crowd or ignite it with a few well-placed words. They can make a weak man feel powerful, and in doing so, make him obedient. They can make an ambitious man feel chosen, and in that illusion, make him controllable. It's not cruelty, it's precision. The dangerous mind doesn't hate people, they simply see them too clearly. They see that most are ruled by impulses they don't understand, that their identities are built on fragile beliefs. They exploit this fragility not always to destroy, but to shape outcomes. Because to understand people is to control the currents that move society. The world is not ruled by the strong, it's ruled by those who understand the strong, the weak, and the space between, and this is why the dangerous mind rarely speaks much. They observe. Every reaction, every glance, every tone becomes a piece of the puzzle. They know who can be swayed by flattery, who can be broken by silence, and who can be corrupted by attention. Their control lies not in what they demand, but in what they allow others to believe. They give people the illusion of choice, while quietly guiding them to the only choice that benefits their plan. Machiavelli would say this is not deception, it's understanding the game of life as it truly is. The dangerous mind plays the long game, not by overpowering people, but by mastering their nature so completely that they never even realize they've been guided. The most dangerous minds are never satisfied with ruling a moment. They want to rule time itself. They understand that empires fall, kings die, names fade, but systems endure. Systems are the invisible cages that control how people think, behave, and obey without ever realizing they're trapped. Machiavelli understood that the true power is not in wearing the crown, but in designing the laws that decide who gets to wear it next. The dangerous mind doesn't dream of kingdoms. They build blueprints for control. Most people want to be remembered. They want their names carved in stone, their faces painted in gold. But monuments crumble. History rewrites itself. Systems, however, outlive everything. The dangerous mind creates frameworks so deeply rooted in human habit that they govern even after the creator is gone. Think of religion, government, belief, culture. They are all systems built by people who understood that influence means nothing unless it can reproduce itself. The empire builder says, "I rule today." The system builder says, "I will rule forever." Machiavelli once wrote that a wise ruler builds foundations so strong that no enemy can shake them. But the most cunning minds take this further. They create systems that make enemies serve their purpose without realizing it. When a structure is built on dependency, everyone inside becomes loyal to it, even if they hate it. That's why the dangerous mind doesn't need to constantly fight for control. Their system does the fighting for them. They step back, and the machine keeps running. They design systems that reward obedience and punish rebellion without lifting a sword. The people become their own guards, defending the very structure that enslaves them. And this is where their genius shines. They understand that human beings crave order, predictability, and belonging. Give them a structure that fulfills these needs, and they will protect it as if it were their own creation. The dangerous mind doesn't lead through fear or charisma alone. They lead through architecture, the architecture of control. While others chase thrones, they chase understanding. They study how institutions rise and fall, how ideologies spread like fire, how rules outlive rulers. They build mechanisms that can adapt, evolve, and protect themselves from collapse. They don't just influence individuals, they influence generations. Because once a system takes root in the collective mind, it no longer needs its creator's presence. It becomes a living organism that sustains itself. And that's the secret. The dangerous mind sees beyond the present. They know that personal power is fragile, temporary, easily destroyed, but systemic power, the kind woven into laws, culture, traditions, and beliefs, is eternal. They don't shout for control. They engineer it. They design rules so natural that people never question them. They understand that when you build a system, you don't need to rule. The system rules for you. Machiavelli would recognize this as the highest form of mastery, to create something that governs men without appearing to restrain them. The dangerous mind becomes the invisible hand behind every decision, every reaction, every belief. They don't need to sit on the throne because they have already built the world that decides who sits there. The most dangerous minds never announce their power. They don't wear crowns, they don't give orders in public halls, and they don't demand obedience. They move in silence, unseen, while their influence ripples through every decision, every conflict, every victory. Machiavelli understood that visible power attracts enemies, but invisible power controls them. The wise man does not stand in front of history. He stands behind it, pulling the strings that make history move. The dangerous mind knows that once power becomes visible, it becomes fragile. People begin to fear it, envy it, or rebel against it. But when power hides itself, it can spread without resistance. It becomes like air, unnoticed yet everywhere. The most intelligent manipulators and rulers understood this long before politics or strategy had names. They learned that control isn't about domination. It's about influence so subtle that the controlled believe they are acting on their own free will. That's the brilliance of invisible power. It doesn't fight against people's will, it flows through it. The dangerous mind whispers ideas instead of issuing commands. They plant thoughts so deeply that others think they originated them. They never say, "Do this." They let you believe it was your choice all along. And that illusion of freedom is what gives their control absolute strength, because what you don't recognize as power, you can't resist. Machiavelli once wrote that a wise ruler must learn how not to be good, but the truly dangerous mind goes further. They learn how not to be seen. They can exist within every faction, every ideology, every movement, and yet belong to none of them. Their loyalty is only to control itself. They hide their motives behind logic, behind virtue, behind necessity. People defend them without even realizing whom they are protecting. That is not coincidence. That is mastery. The visible ruler must enforce authority. The invisible one doesn't have to. Their power exists in perception. They shape belief, and belief shapes reality. When they want a king to fall, they don't draw a sword. They plant a rumor. When they want a society to change, they alter its stories, its values, its fears. The dangerous mind understands that the world doesn't move by command. It moves by perception. Change what people believe, and you control what they do. Invisible power also has another advantage. It can never be attacked. You can't strike what you can't see. The dangerous mind is always 2 steps removed from the consequences of their own influence. When chaos erupts, others are blamed. When victories are achieved, others are celebrated. Yet behind every outcome lies their silent calculation. They don't lead armies. They lead intentions. And intentions, once shaped, are unstoppable. To the untrained eye, they seem passive, observers rather than actors. But every silence they hold, every word they withhold, every move they make is deliberate. Their restraint is strategy. Their absence is presence. They control not by appearing strong, but by making others dependent on their unseen guidance. They are the shadow every ruler fears, the quiet architect behind every decision that changes the course of nations. Machiavelli knew that power flaunted invites rebellion, but power hidden becomes destiny. The dangerous mind carries no title, no recognition, and no need for approval. Their rule exists in the minds of others, not through fear or force, but through belief itself, and belief, once captured, is the most absolute form of control the world will ever know. Conclusion. The silent rule of the dangerous mind. Power has always been the greatest illusion mankind ever chased. The crowd believes it lies in wealth, in armies, in the applause of others. But Machiavelli would tell you, true power is silent, patient, and unseen. The most dangerous minds never seek to rule through titles or thrones. They rule through understanding. They see how fear shapes men, how time breaks kings, how systems outlive empires. They understand that every human desire for control, love, respect, or legacy can be turned into a lever, and through those levers, they move the world without leaving fingerprints. While others compete to be noticed, they master the art of disappearance. While fools shout their intentions, they whisper realities into existence. They do not fight for dominance, they design it. They do not crave loyalty, they create dependency. Their genius lies in the ability to remain invisible while their influence defines everything around them. You will never see them coming, yet you'll always feel their presence. Machiavelli's wisdom was not about cruelty, but about clarity. The clarity to see the nature of power as it truly is, fragile, deceptive, and easily corrupted by ego. The dangerous mind escapes the trap. They do not hunger for control, they become control itself. They don't need the world to recognize their strength, because the world already bends to it. And that is the final truth. The most dangerous minds never seek power, because they already possess the one thing that every ruler lacks: freedom. Freedom from the need to be seen. Freedom from the fear of losing control. Freedom from the illusion that power must be held to be real. They understand what most never will. The one who doesn't seek the throne often ends up ruling everyone who does.